Do stuff. Be clenched curious, not waiting for inspiration's shove or society's kiss on your forehead. Pay attention. It's all about paying attention. Attention is vitality. It connects you with others. It makes you eager. Stay eager. A writer, I think, is someone who pays attention to the world. What makes me feel strong? Being in love and work. I must work. What is the most beautiful in virile men is something feminine. What is most beautiful in feminine women is something masculine. Love words, agonize over sentences, and pay attention to the world. 10% of any population is cruel, no matter what, and 10% is merciful, no matter what, and the remaining 80% can be moved in either direction. Depression is melancholy minus its charms, the animation, the fits. Illness is the night side of life, a more onerous citizenship. Everyone who is born holds dual citizenship in the kingdom of the well and in the kingdom of the sick. To take a photograph is to participate in another person's mortality, vulnerability, mutability. Precisely by slicing out this moment and freezing it, all photographs testify to time's relentless melt. A good book is an education of the heart. It enlarges your sense of human possibility. What human nature is of what happens in the world. It's a creator of inwardness. The basic unit for contemporary art is not the idea, but the analysis of and extension of sensations. Attention is vitality. It connects you with others. It makes you eager. Stay eager. Fear binds people together, and fear disperses them. Courage inspires communities. The courage of an example, for courage is as contagious as fear. But courage, certain kinds of courage, can also isolate the brave. The most potent elements in a work of art are often its silences. This is the beauty that emerges from self-confidence, class confidence, that says, I am not born to please. I am born to be pleased. The whole point of camp is to dethrone the serious. Camp is playful, anti-serious. More precisely, camp involves a new, more complex relation to the serious. One can be serious about the frivolous about the serious. All understanding begins with our not accepting the world as it appears. I believe that courage is morally neutral. I can well imagine wicked people being brave and good people being timid or afraid. I don't consider it a moral virtue. It hurts to love. It's like giving yourself to be flayed and knowing that at any moment the other person may just walk off with your skin. The painter constructs, the photographer discloses. It is not the position, but the disposition. In the journal, I do not just express myself more openly than I could to any person. I create myself. Writing is a little door. Some fantasies, like big pieces of furniture, won't come through. I don't write because there's an audience. I write because there is literature. It's a pleasure to share one's memories. Everything remembered is dear, endearing, touching, precious. At least the past is safe though. We didn't know it at the time. We know it now because it's in the past, because we have survived. Compassion is an unstable emotion. It needs to be translated into action or it withers. Pornography is a theater of types, never of individuals. You have to create your own space which has a lot of silence in it and a lot of books. Self-exposure is commendable in art only when it is of a quality and complexity that allows other people to learn about themselves from it. Illnesses have always been used as metaphors to enliven charges that a society was corrupt or unjust. Art is not only about something, it is something. A work of art is a thing in the world, not just a text or commentary on the world. Reading usually precedes writing, and the impulse to write is almost always fired by reading. Reading, the love of reading is what makes you dream of becoming a writer. I was not looking for my dreams to interpret my life, but rather for my life to interpret my dreams. Thinking, writing are ultimately questions of stamina. Art is not consciousness per se, but rather its antidote evolved from within consciousness itself. Photographs may be more memorable than moving images because they are a neat slice of time, not a flow. Each still photograph is a privileged moment turned into a slim object that one can keep and look at again. One can be serious about the frivolous, frivolous about the serious. The photographer's intentions do not determine the meaning of a photograph, which will have its own career, blown by the whims and loyalties of the diverse communities that have use for it. The life of the creative man is lead, directed, and controlled by boredom. Avoiding boredom is one of our most important purposes. Camp is a solvent of morality. It neutralizes moral indignation, sponsors playfulness, rules of taste, and force structures of power. Nothing is mysterious. No human relation, except love. Sight is a promiscuous sense. The avid gaze always wants more. To photograph is to appropriate the thing photographed. It means putting oneself into a certain relation to the world that feels like knowledge and, therefore, like power. To interpret is to impoverish, to deplete the world in order to set up a shadow world of meanings. To paraphrase several sages, nobody can think and hit someone at the same time. I don't care about someone being intelligent. Any situation between people, when they are really human with each other, produces intelligence. It's hard not to be afraid. Be less afraid. Literature was the passport to enter a larger life, that is, the zone of freedom. Literature was freedom, especially in a time in which the values of reading and inwardness are so strenuously challenged. Literature is freedom. The camera makes everyone a tourist in other people's reality, and eventually in one's own existence is no more than the precarious attainment of relevance in an intensely mobile flux of past, present, and future. Many things in the world have not been named, and many things, even if they have been named, have never been described. The truth is balance. However, the opposite of truth, which is in balance, may not be a lie. The fear of becoming old is born of the recognition that one is not living now the life that one wishes. Photographs objectify. They turn an event or a person into something that can be possessed. Narratives can make us understand. Photographs do something else. They haunt us. A good listener, a physical presence that is warm, alert, intelligent, more important than any words. In the final analysis, style is art, and art is nothing more or less than various modes of stylized, dehumanized representation. The taste for worst-case scenarios reflects the need to master fear of what is felt to be uncontrollable. It also expresses an imaginative complicity with disaster. A family's photograph album is generally about the extended family and often is all that remains of it. Tragedy is a vision of nihilism, a heroic or ennobling vision of nihilism. The problem isn't that people remember through photographs, but that they remember only the photographs. That even an apocalypse can be made to seem part of the ordinary horizon of expectation constitutes an unparalleled violence that is being done to our sense of reality, to our humanity. So successful has been the camera's role in beautifying the world that photographs, rather than the world, have become the standard of the beautiful. It is easier to endure than to change, but once one has changed, what was endured is hard to recall. Susan Lee Sontag, January 16, 1933, December 28, 2004, was born Susan Rosenblatt in New York City, the daughter of Mildred Jacobson and Jack Rosenblatt, both Jews of Lithuanian and Polish descent. Her father managed a fur trading business in China, where he died of tuberculosis in 1939 when Susan was 5 years old. 7 years later, Sontag's mother married US Army Captain Nathan Sontag. Susan and her sister Judith took their stepfather's surname. Although he did not adopt them formally, Sontag did not have a religious upbringing and said she had not entered a synagogue until her mid-20s. Susan Sontag was an American writer, critic, and public intellectual. She mostly wrote essays, but also published novels. She published her first major work, the essay Notes on Camp, in 1964. Her best-known works include the Critical Works Against Interpretation 1966, On Photography 1977, Illness as Metaphor 1978, and Regarding the Pain of Others, as well as the fictional works The Way We Live Now 1986, The Volcano Lover 1992, and In America 1999. Sontag was active in writing and speaking about or traveling to areas of conflict, including during the Vietnam War and the Siege of Sarajevo. She wrote extensively about literature, photography and media, culture, AIDS and illness, war, human rights, and left-wing politics. Her essays and speeches drew controversy, and she has been called one of the most influential critics of her generation. 1976, Arts and Letters Award in Literature. 1977, National Book Critics Circle Award for On Photography. 1979, became member of the American Arts. 1990, MacArthur Fellowship. 1992, Malaparti Prize, Italy. 1999, Commendeur des Arts et des Lettres, France. 2000, National Book Award for In America. 2001, Jerusalem Prize, awarded every 2 years to a writer whose work explores the freedom of the individual in society. 2002, George Polk Award for Cultural Criticism for Looking at War in The New Yorker. 2003, Honorary Doctorate of Tübingen University. 2003, Friedenspreis des Deutschen Buchhandels during the Frankfurt Book Fair. 2003, Prince of Asturias Award on Literature. 2004, 2 days after her death, Muhyiddin Hamamjisic, the mayor of Sarajevo, announced the city would name a street after her, calling her an author and a humanist who actively participated in the creation of the history of Sarajevo and Bosnia. Theater Square outside the National Theater was promptly proposed to be renamed Susansontag Theater Square. It took 5 years, however, for that tribute to become official. On January 13, 2010, the city of Sarajevo posted a plate with a new street name for Theater Square of Susansontag.